search engine. Quarter past the hour here in Moscow. So Google may be forced to introduce a new choice screen on Android devices in Australia in a bid to boost the market share of alternative search engines. Now, there's growing discontent within the Australian government over the tech giant's monopoly of the market. Currently, the American company controls 94% of the Australian search engine market. Now, the choice screen on Android devices allows users to opt for a different search engine. Australia also wants to prevent Google from paying Apple for installing the top search engine as a default option on its devices. Just recently, Europe has launched a plan to implement a similar policy.
We are concerned that Google's dominance and its ability to use its financial resources to fund arrangements to be the default search engine on many devices and other means through which consumers access search, such as browsers, is harming competition and consumers.
A Google spokesperson responded that Australians use the top search engine not because they're forced to, but because of its high quality. Well, currently, the company is reviewing the report and looking forward to discussing it with Australian authorities. Let's learn more right now. Crossing live to Yair Cohen, a social media solicitor and internet law expert, joining us here on RT. Great to see you today. Thanks so much for joining us on the program. What do you think? Google apparently has a monopoly in Australia now. I mean, isn't it right for Australians to be aware of more choice, to have another search engine instead of being confined to just Google?
Well, Google has got a monopoly, full stop, pretty much across the Western world. Now, let's not be mistaken here. The issue is not really a search engine. Let's go a little bit deeper into this issue. So Google will always ensure. So Google will pay any amount of money to make sure that Google search engine is the default search engine on every Android device. That's the first step. Second step, in order to cement its position within the search engine, so within Google search engine, Google will make sure that the default search is actually Google search. So first we're going to have Google Chrome, which is Google search engine. Within that, there will be a default search facility, which is, of course, Google search. Now, that's not the end of it, because the next step would be that within search results that come up on Google search, the very first search results would belong to Google. So if you're searching for travel ticket or flight ticket with the Google Travel, if you're looking to do some shopping, it would be Google Shopping. If you're looking for any videos, it would be a YouTube that belong to Google. So that gives Google a monopoly, not necessarily over the search engine, but over the entire communication system that is being used pretty much all over the world. And I think this is where the real danger is that control over communication, control over what people are seeing, control over search results. And in a way, that also kind of put off other innovators, and they're thinking, what's the point me developing a search engine to compete with Google if I stand no chance of actually getting into the mobile telephone market, because Google will always outbid me with, Google will pay any cost, any price.
Well, this is just I mean, I think you raise a really good point. Sorry for jumping in, but Google is such a multi-billion-dollar giant right now, and as you say, it's not just about a search engine. It's about all these other Google apps as well that get stuffed into people's Android phones. But my concern, Yair, is this: that okay, let's go back to the simple search engine argument. If Google is in control of this to such an extent, when you are searching for information and it returns your search, then the information you get back is only the information that Google thinks you should be getting.
Oh, absolutely. Now the real danger here is that Google have, over time, become pretty much the de facto controller over communication all over the world, which means that it opens up the gates of corruption. So Google can cozy up with any government, any, say, sitting government, and say, we will promote your agenda, say, over the next general election. and in return, you allow us to continue and grow, to continue control, effectively have control over the internet. We maybe make sure that your opponent's YouTube videos aren't going to be appearing on YouTube at all or on Google search engine. And in return, we will take care of you, you'll take care of us. And this is how tyranny is being developed. And we are pretty much very, very close to that point where there is only one voice that is being heard, and that voice would be the voice that Google decides should be heard, and everybody else will have no opportunity to even start competing.
Yair, I'm running so low on time. I've only got time now for one more quick question here. But if the Australian government were to pass legislation kind of pushing Google to the side and allowing for another search engine or another list of apps, is it possible that Google could, I don't know, retaliate against Australia, threaten to shut down some of its apps in Australia, even confine the search for information anymore? Google, I dare say, is more powerful than people are prepared to accept.
Yes, indeed. This is something that is quite concerning. I would say Google is more likely to retaliate against politicians, send the right signals to the right politician and say, you know, you make sure that those legislations, those laws are not being passed, and we will take care of you. Otherwise, you know, be warned.
Yair Cohen, internet law expert and social media solicitor, always a great pleasure having you on the program. Thank you for your insight.